is our final tier list, fall 2024. Not episodic like our usual tier list. We gonna rate every single anime that we checked out, including the ones that we dropped, including the ones that we finished, and give you an overall impression. I got a couple, categories here. Peak, obviously, it's peak. And we got great, good, mid, and then the dookie tier, dropped / trash. And to start off the drop / trash, fuck this anime. I do not care if the most recent episode was kind of good. I genuinely don't give a fuck. The Answer Studio can eat my ass for what they did to Tower of God the series. A webtoon that is heralded as the One Piece of webtoon getting a treatment like this is fucking tragic. It is disgusting what they did to this show. I'm watching it. Bomb is getting his fucking thorn powers and nobody cares. And I honestly can't even feel the hype either. And here's the craziest shit. We have two animes where both stories should be peak. Blue Lock and Tower of God. Blue Lock and Tower of God are very interesting scenarios because there are two sides of the same coin. Two sides of the same coin, how? Because both fucking studios in the production committee, and they share the same production committee, which is Bandai Namco Filmworks, they decided to give the least amount of resources and a shitty fucking timeline with, no fucking talent to, for produce this shit. You saw Slide Lock. You saw PNG Lock. We also saw the disgusting animation in Tower of God. So that's why I say they're very similar. Yet, this shit goes up to way here almost because of the last fucking episodes alone. And Tower of God simply can't do that because they don't even have the talent to fucking min-max. Blue Lock is just smurfing and only going all out when it needs to. Tower of God can't even fucking do that. It's genuinely ass. And if you are delusional enough to think that you enjoyed Tower of God Season 2, you have no standards. You're gonna really tell me that after watching Season 1, Season 2 gives you the same kind of vibe? Fuck no. You know what's so sad? Kevin Penkin's soundtrack is wasted on this garbage anime. Kevin Penkin's soundtrack is so fucking good. It captures the mood, the vibe of Tower of God. This mysterious, big, omnipotent tower. So much mysteries, right? Such a vivid world that I remember in Season 1. Then I watched Season 2, and I hear Kevin Penkin's soundtrack, and you know what the sad thing is? It's such a mismatch, the contrast between how good the soundtrack is and how shit the anime is, where it's almost like laughable. When I hear a soundtrack, I'm almost like chuckling and laughing at myself because it's just like, damn. It just truly shows how ass this anime is. Fuck this anime. Fuck the Answer Studio. And you know what? Answer Studio. These are the dudes. Tower of God, anime season 2, scheduled for 2025. Studio, the Answer Studio. We're cooked. Where is the Answer Studio, bro? Is it because the Answer Studio, they have a Twitter account? The Answer Studio to Twitter. Where is it? I'm just gonna click on this. I need to publicly shame them. I straight up need to publicly shame them. The Answer Studio. They have no talent, bro. They genuinely have no talent. They have no fucking business touching this fucking project, bro. I'm actually disgusted what they did to this shit. Let's see it. Tower of God! Wow! We're done! Great! Yeah, for me, this whole season was very boring and really bad in my opinion. It was hard for me to stay engaged and the animation was all terrible. But with all that said, it's just fucking sad. Remake this shit, bro. Fucking remake this shit. It's just so sad, bro. Anyways, enough of me hating on this garbage. Let's talk about this anime. Villainous that'll go down in history. This was genuinely a fun anime. I put this in good tier. The production value is obviously very limited. I'm not really watching this for fancy animation because all of it is carried by the dialogue and the sassiness of the villainous challenging, the heroine and her ideal naive, idealism. It was very nice. Liz is a Giga Chad. I love how she handled business all the time. Duke being a weird-ass PDF file also made for some funny content, I guess, because we kept joking about how he's pre-ordering Alicia. But Alicia technically is like a grown-ass woman who got had her memories implanted into this girl. So technically you can say Alicia's the one grooming Duke. But overall, nothing much to say. It's just a good anime. Overall, I give it like a 7 out of 10. 7 out of 10 is like the default score where it's not bad, it's not amazing. It's just It was an enjoyable watch, and I think it was pretty good. Tower of God, I give this shit fucking something below 5, man. Next up, y'all remember this anime? This anime, Goodbye Dragon Life, we did drop it. It is probably, if we finished watching it, it'd probably go up here. I don't think it's that bad. Obviously, the animation is very limited. And the story is alright. You got Lamia, and it's the whole story repeat loop is people being discriminatory towards Lamia, and then us, you know, just proving them wrong. And the slice of life elements definitely carried. Obviously, the milk scenes with the, you know, the bald guy's wife sharing, oh my god, here's some fresh squeezed milk. Would you like to try my daughter's milk too? That's pretty much the extent of the comedy. If we finished this anime, I'd probably put it at mid, but we didn't, so it goes down here. I give this like a 6 point something out of 10. Next up, let's talk about Talker. Talker? I'm gonna put it in great. I'm gonna rate this like a 7.5 minimum out of 10. This is genuinely a great anime. It was so fun. The production value was better than most. The fight scenes were actually way better than most animes that actually had a bunch of action this anime season, like Tower of God. But the action wasn't why I like this. The action is simply just an accessory, because the whole anime is based on deception and manipulation and gaslighting the enemy. Dealing evil with evil. Noel is able to manipulate and, you know, talk his way out of anything. And I love how, again, the main character is not being this fucking self-righteous, indignant white knight cuck, but rather someone who is a very practical realist who knows how shitty the world is, and therefore we need to deal shitty people with shitty methods. I love that. I genuinely loved it. It was a great anime. Minimum 7.5 out of 10. Next up, let's talk about Blue Box. I have no bad or good things to say about Blue Box. The reason that Blue Box got dropped is because TMS Entertainment, who is the copyright holders on YouTube, went out of their way to block every anime. That's from TMS Entertainment for Blue Box. That's why you don't see Blue Box reactions on YouTube most of the times, because they just went out and blocked every one of them. First couple episodes, it was alright. The production value was very pretty. The opening was amazing. The story, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of rom-coms like this. It was all right, I guess, but I got no opinion because, again, this had to be dropped because of copyright issues. Next up, let's talk about Loner Life Isekai. Loner Life Isekai, if we did not have the shitty-ass Labyrinth arc, the dungeon arc, I put it in great. But because it did have that shitty-ass dungeon arc, which wasted like 3 to 4 fucking episodes fighting random bosses that we don't care about. Who the fuck is watching this for the action scenes? The action scenes are ass. We care more about how Haruka interacts with other sub-factions within the group of the classmates that we ported here with. That's why the first arc was amazing. The first arc overall, again, if it was just that, I give this shit again like a 7.5 minimum out of 10. But because of the shitty dungeon arc, which then again later on paid dividends because it was all to kind of, you know, tie in this intimacy between Angelica and Haruka in the dungeon, I'll put it down here, I guess. Maybe here. I don't know. This is I don't know. On an episode by episode basis, I enjoyed Villainous consistently. This is very consistently fun. This was fun for a while, then really fucking annoying, and then fun for a bit. I'll put this down here then. Overall, this rating, I'd probably give it like a 7. Which is interesting because I said I give Villainous also a 7, yet they're in 2 different categories. So then this should be lower than then, huh? This should be more like 6 point something out of 10, huh? I'm not too sure. Both animes feels like a 7 out of 10 to me, but I'm differentiating the different tiers here, which is very interesting. I don't even know how to explain it myself. Meaning that the 7 for Loner Life is actually not very genuine. It should be more like 6.5 then. Okay, we'll put it down there for now. Next up. Let's talk about Orb. Now, Orb, of the episodes that we watched, I think should go in great. Episode 3 was fucking peak. One of the things I hated about this anime is how in the dark scenes, you can't see shit. The dark night times, you can't see anything, which is a complaint not of the story, but more of the production side. The story is very fascinating. It's a completely different feel from the shitty isekais that we always get, right? Completely different setting. It's not a Japanese high school setting either. We're in like this Polish place, like we're basically in Poland, and you know, there's this whole heresy of trying to challenge the church's belief of geocentrism when we know that heliocentrism could be the truth. And then you have, you know, executioners, and there's an exaggerated story of, you know, church people trying to burn motherfuckers at the cross, stuff like that. It was fun. It's just that obviously my audience are too dumb to appreciate a show like this. And the only reason that Orb did well is because of Japanese tourists that was checking this anime out, which then bailed after episode 3 because they didn't like the direction of how the main character, you know, changed after episode 3. So therefore, I put this here of the episodes that I've seen. I would give this probably like a very high 7 point something out of 10, if not 8. Probably like a, this should probably in the realm of the 8s, but again, I just can't criticize it or even like give an accurate rating because of I didn't finish the season. So it goes down here for now. It goes down here. Next up. Let's talk about Spirit Chronicles. Spirit Chronicles? It was good. This is a solid 7 out of 10 anime. It's probably gonna be something forgettable. It does nothing special. It's just a very cozy and comfortable show to watch. But the plot is actually very interesting to actually keep up with. The politics is, interestingly enough, pretty intricate. There is no just, like, people think that, you know, main character Kirito clone, who's voice acted by Kirito, just goes around collecting waifus and defeats the bad guys, and at a first glance, yes, but if you actually look at the plot and see what the villains are doing and what, you know, the different nobles and different factions are doing, example, Gustav Huguenot, you would think that he's just a random evil dude back in season 1, but he's such an interesting character because he has his own set of motivations that also kind of like helps us at the end of the day, you know? Stuff like that, the little facial expressions from different people during meetings from Lizarote or Duke Huguenot, or even like, let's say, the Hiroaki, the new isekai character that showed up. And that's the other thing too, the plot's getting very interesting. We got heroes being summoned by different, you know, kingdoms, and boom, season 1 is now expanding beyond what it was, and now we're just getting so much different plot. And best part is the people getting summoned here also is part of our original squad, right? Back on Earth. And even the finale of this episode hints at even more crazy shit happening, which, you know, it hints that season 3 is definitely going to be made. And it's a fan-made anime. Well, it's a fan-funded anime, meaning there is no angel investors or big corporations, you know, it's just sponsoring this anime. The people, the fans, are so diehard for this series that they are spending money to get this project going. And for what it's worth, I think it was fantastic. This shit, again, I give it like a 7 point something out of 10. It was very fun. Next up, let's talk about Ranma. Ranma is so good. I'm not sure if it belongs in the peak tier, but this is definitely an 8 point something out of 10. A remake of the legendary Ranma show from the past that's still hitting. A lot of the cliches and the tropes, it's not, you know, these aren't like repeated things, because this is the pioneer of a lot of those tropes and cliches, including the whole memory loss amnesia arc, or even like, I guess this, I can't really say it like innovated tsundere, but what Ranma does in the year of 2024 going to 2025, despite it being such an old anime, it lives up to its time. Like, this is not a byproduct of its time, meaning like it was only good back then because of the culture and, you know, basically whatever was happening in the 80s. Like, we're in 2020s and this shit's still hitting. It was fantastic. The production value was also amazing. Mappa obviously is going all out for this shit. And the random shenanigans, every time we go somewhere, things are just fucking popping off. Everyone is trying to love and hate different characters, and this is intricate web of different, you know, people who loves boy Ranma but actually hates girl Ranma, or vice versa, and Akane who wants Akane, and it's just, this show was chaos and I loved it. I hope that season 2 will be announced very soon. This is like an 8 point something out of 10. Next up. Let's talk about Kimi no Maid-sama. For the episodes that I watched, it was very mid. It was a very well-made show. The production value clearly showed polish and quality in the animations. However, no matter how pretty you make something, if the substance and the story of what you're adapting is ass, then there's not much fun to be had. And why is it ass? Because the romance is so fucking forced. A random maid shows up at your doors and just wants to job, and if you deny her, she's gonna cry because she thinks that she's worthless and she has no value because of the fucking trauma from the past of being an assassin. And now she's basically just trauma dumping, and for whatever reason, her and the 16-year-old boy who lives at home alone is bonding out of fucking nowhere. It's so forced, it's glorifying trauma dumping, and maybe there's some representation to be had of people that are truly, you know, I guess, traumatized and has PTSD and it's for them. I don't think so. I think that this is a very cheap effort at trying to appeal to young horny boys where they live home alone and you'll just have like a 21-year-old maid show up that's gonna just trauma dump and you're there to be there for her and she's gonna just be with you. It just felt weird. We only watched like 3 episodes or something, and then the episode where she became like a substitute student or like a transfer student at school, maybe the plot goes a different direction, but for the episodes that I watched, this is pretty mid, like a 6 point something out of 10, but since we didn't finish it, it goes down here. Also, what's interesting is that an anime like this, I expected to do really well on YouTube. I genuinely thought that the YouTube reactions and these numbers would do well, but across the board and many other people's channels too, this shit was ass. You would think that like a fan service, you know, rom-com kind of anime would do well, but it didn't. Why? Because a lot of people also find it fucking boring, and it's like a nothing burger. Next, what do we have? I think we can talk about Arifureta. Arifureta probably goes to the top of good, at a rating of probably something like 7.5 out of 10. It is just peak trashy, and I called this 7.5 out of 10 too. I don't think Arifureta is as great as Talker though. Arifureta maybe is just like a lower than 7.5. It's just peak trashy isekai. And I think that Arifureta in season 3 is now really getting into the groove of things, of knowing what the characters are and what kind of story it is. In the beginning, it was very dark and serious and edgy, because Hajime was very, you know, edgy. But after getting the daughter Miu and just hanging out for a while, he becomes a lot more funny. In season 3, you can see Hajime just start trolling like crazy. And we get all the trashy elements of, you know, degenerate isekai elements that we like the fan service and, you know, a bunch of that shit. Arifureta was very fun. It was very fun, and it's still going though. There's still a couple episodes left. It's not just ending yet, but overall I give it like a minimum 7 point something out of 10. It's just good. It's just good. Now, let's see. Appraisal Isekai. Appraisal Isekai is a show that we had to drop because of the low viewership. Of the episodes that I've seen, I would think that this would also be like here. Like a 7 out of 10 anime. I don't think there's much difference in quality of Appraisal Isekai and let's say like fucking Spirit Chronicle. It's not as if like this isn't like amazing or bad. But I guess people just don't really care too much about the story. It doesn't really stand out amongst the other isekais, I guess. Even though the nature of it is I mean, he's appraising shit. Everyone can appraise, but the whole thing about this guy is that he can only appraise, and he builds, you know, a team around him, and a lot of the content is revolved around the diplomatic, you know, political negotiations and shit. The action sequences are pretty decent too. But unfortunate that people in my channel just lost interest. I mean, even in season 1, the interest wasn't really there. It barely made it to the end, and obviously with subsequent seasons happening, more people get filtered out, so unfortunate. But I would rate this like a 7 out of 10, but unfortunately had to drop it. It's confirmed to get season 3. That's crazy. It's looking like the studio that's working on this is a big fan of the project and they're just gonna do it justice. It's cool to see though. Next up, we're getting into some peak shows here, man. We got some fucking peaks, you know, amongst the trash here. Let's talk about Dragon Ball Daima. Dragon Ball Daima, we had to drop it But I'm gonna be honest, guys. This shit was beyond mid the entire time. The production value is amazing. The art style is very akin to Akira Toriyama. But this is not Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super. This is more OG Dragon Ball, slice of life. This random bullshit happening. Very slow. It's, for the episodes that I've watched, and the amount of attention that it got on YouTube reactions, bro, nobody give a fuck about this. So many people does not give a shit about this because they just want Unga Bunga hype of Super Saiyan shit happening. It is what it is. It's a fine anime, it just doesn't align with the interest of what everyone remembers what Dragon Ball is. So, had to be dropped. This is also, fun fact, the lowest performing show ever on my channel. I don't know about ever, but in fall 2024, there is no other anime that got lower views than Dragon Ball Daima. Alright. Let's talk about Grieving Souls. And Grieving Souls, I put this shit in great. I may have enjoyed this more than Rama and Talker. Grieving Souls and Talker was like an anime that I was kind of comparing the two because it seemed to have similar quality. I enjoyed Talker in the beginning more than Grieving Souls. I was genuinely pissed off and upset at how Cry was getting away with everything and Liz is being a shitty person to Tino, and you know, everyone's laughing it off and I'm like, this is fucking stupid, but that's the comedy part. That's the whole point. And the more I start to watch it, especially after the Sophia Black incident, the more I realized that like, I'm really enjoying this anime. That last arc was peak. No action necessary. Don't need it. I mean, Liz popping off against, you know, the phantoms or whatever in the wolf den, it was cool, I guess. But the thing about this anime is a couple things. Well, I guess the comedy revolves around everyone glazing Cry, but then eventually becoming true, even though other people who are the antagonists are calling him out and saying he's a fraud, he's a fucking scammer, in which they're right, but they all get fucking gaslit because of the sequence of events. The whole Sophia Black, you know, revelation actually blew my fucking mind. And, you know, the sisters are so fucking evil and, you know, they're actual demons, man. And then the final arc, I loved how the entire town was just hanging out, clowning on Arnold. There was an episode where Arnold literally pulls up to a bar and everyone's like, who the fuck are you? And they get pissed off and, you know, Liz shows him in his place. And then fucking P. Maru, the VTuber reference, starts popping off and does a fucking concert while Arnold's got dunked on. And then everyone's just having fun. And it turns out too, P. Maru was stitty. Arnold did nothing wrong. But what I'm trying to say is, I felt like I was part of that group, that whole tavern, the gang, the whole city, every other character getting involved. It's one of those shows that the more you watch, the more you get to appreciate, you know, the entire environment and setting, and everything becomes a lot more livelier and dynamic. I give this anime like a very high, I mean, I gave Rama like an 8. But like, here's the thing. I have a bias towards Grieving Souls more than Rama, even though Rama is probably the better anime. You know what I'm saying? Like the production value is, I guess, what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, like, I guess I enjoyed the story of here more than Rama, even though Rama is like a better produced anime. Therefore, I gave Rama like an 8 point something out of 10, but Grieving Souls is like a high 7s. Maybe it's something like that. I don't know. This is very fun though. This is like a high 7s, if not maybe like an 8 or something. I'm actually also season 2 being announced is very hype. All right, next up, we got Mao 2099. We recently finished it. It was probably here. Yeah, something like that. This is JC Staff's many animes that's being produced in fall 2024. It was pretty fucking good. There's two arcs. The whole, you know, the Immortal Furnace beating the Marcus arc, and then the whole like Kizuki, you know, Melodia Goddess arc. Both arcs were fantastic. From start to finish, every episode was very, very enjoyable. There's, I guess, this whole trope of reverse isekai of a demon lord coming back to Earth. But this is different because I guess it's set in like a cyberpunk setting. I'm very glad that I checked this anime out. It's genuinely great. There's a lot of relatable things that they implemented for me too of, you know, the guy couldn't get a fucking real job, so he had to start live streaming instead. That's pretty funny. The English girl, the ridiculous English pronunciation of the secretary girl was really funny. The action. Bro, JC Staff actually pulled up. There's 2 episodes when they pulled up. The English woman versus Graham episode. And then unfortunately after that, like, Marcus versus Veltal was pretty mid, but maybe the actual source material also didn't have crazy fight scenes. And then the most recent finale episode, you know, Meldia versus Veltal, that shit went fucking crazy, man. For finale episode, that the animation quality just fucking skyrocketed there. They really put in the effort there. Like, I don't think Talker, Grieving Souls, or maybe Rama did it better, but like, in terms of like a peak episode with better animation, like this easily beats these two. Easily beats any of this, right? This went crazy. It had a little like mini version of like the Blue Lock effect, because like the finale episode, when the fucking black bar showed up and it was movie time, oh my god, bro, things just fucking skyrocketed. But we're thinking about, you know, an overall gauge of how I felt about the entire thing. It's close. It's around here somewhere. This anime, I give it like a 7 point something out of 10. Fantastic watch. I hope season 2 comes out. Now, we have a bunch of peaks with a bunch of trash, huh? First up, let's talk about Danmachi. Danmachi. First anime I put in peak. Yup, I do. Maybe it doesn't deserve it, but I think that the consistency of every episode was mind-bogglingly good. JC Staff's most important priority project, right? JC Staff's clearly putting way more love into Danmachi compared to Mao 2099 or Damsel in a Do-Over Damsel. Every episode was fucking amazing to me. This arc might be one of my favorite arcs. I might be enjoying this more than season 4. Because I genuinely don't care too much about fighting random dungeon monsters. But the whole Freya revelation, the whole arc in the beginning of, you know, heading, training Belle, 20 reps of giving bouquet flowers, 20 reps of bowing and saying, how was your day? 20 reps of, you know, all that bullshit, bro. This is fucking peak comedy. Danmachi slice of life comedy hits so hard for me. I have a personal bias for this story. What else? The plot twist with Freya fucking blew my mind. Freya just being an evil ass gaslighter and just saying, fuck every one of you, I'm crashing out. Hestia having a peak moment. I've never seen Hestia be this cool ever. And then what happens? War game. And I'm like, oh my fucking god, we're not done yet. But unfortunately, production has come to a halt. The author stepped in. He tweeted himself, and we're interpreting based off of the author's tweet, where he said that, I'm sorry guys, I had to step in and kind of stop production, but don't worry, it's coming back in spring 2025 with great quality. And in terms of my enjoyment of the show, it's better this way, because it makes sure that the last 4 episodes are gonna be fucking stunning. What sucks about this is, obviously, we talked about in the other video where we made the video called "Did JC Staff Just Kill This Anime?" I don't think so. Because most animes, if it ever takes a hiatus like this, especially if there's like a season 1 content where their strong fandom has not been created, they're gonna drop it, they're gonna move on. But Danmachi's in its 5th fucking season. There's hardly any casual tourist around. Most people are hardcore fans that will watch it when spring comes around. Therefore, I believe things are gonna be fine. Danmachi, I put this shit minimum like 8.5 out of 10. So far. Minimum 8.5. Should be probably higher. Next up! What do we got? Let's talk about this anime. Banished Healer. Banished Healer, of the episodes that I've seen, probably should go to mid. Right? This anime, the Lightning Blade, you know the shitty party, the blonde guy? He actually made so much content for us. He's the reason why that first arc was actually fucking fun. Yeah, he's a piece of shit, but because of him, again, we had so much good content that comes out of it. It was alright. It was alright. Had to drop it though, because obviously performance, you know, to fall off, and no one really gave a fuck about this anime. It's a very simple story. I give this shit, for the episodes that I've seen, like a 6 out of 10 or something, man. But we had to drop it, so it goes down here. Now, got a couple animes here. Okay. Let's talk about ReZero. To peak, of course. Season 3 hasn't ended. We're only... Bro, we might be like less than... Like, here's the thing. There's rumors that after 16 episodes have been covered for Arc 5, which is the Siege at Priscilla, the first 8 episodes have already aired. The next 8 will come out in February, and that'll be 16 episodes. But that might not be the end of Season 3. Season 3 may also include Arc 6, which is gonna be even longer than even longer than 16 episodes. It could go to an overall count of like, what was it, like 39 or some shit? I forget exactly the number. But what I'm trying to say is like, we are far from finishing Season 3, and I hope the rumors are also very true. Of the first 8 episodes of the Attack arc, we got slammed. We got dunked on. But there are faint hopes that's been shining because of Subaru's speech. 2 episodes comes to mind for the peak episodes. Capella's introduction episode. Not the one where she's in the dragon form, but more like when she's in the lolly form. And then here's the other thing. A lot of people are like, Capella's not a lolly! She doesn't look like Beatrice! Guess what? Lolly has a spectrum. A flat-chested girl where the author's trying to flex the fucking grippers. Of course she's a lolly. It's just that she's at the upper bound of what's considered a lolly. Some people are trying to do mind games. It's a petite girl, guys. Call a spade a fucking spade. Most people are gonna look at Capella and think that it's a lolly. It's definitely not a Beatrice lolly, which is on the other side of the spectrum, but it's definitely at the higher end of the threshold of what I would call like a lolly and like, I don't know, some fucking prepubescent girl. Aside from that, the Subaru speech episode was also phenomenal. Episode 1 was so fucking good for me because it was so much content, bro. But a lot of people call it filler because they can't, appreciate the deep lore of ReZero. But Season 3 so far, easily a minimum 9 point something out of 10. And I'm sure that the best is yet to come. We all, like, imagine this, right? Season 2, imagine, right now, basically, we don't even get all the hype shit that comes after Straight Bed. Season 2 was all just suffering and getting fucked, right? For so many episodes of The Sanctuary. And then the second half is triumphant, glorious peaks. We're about to get those glorious peaks very soon. February. Now, Do-Over Damsel, in the beginning, first couple episodes, I thought it was actually pretty funny. I genuinely enjoyed the first episodes. Go look at my reactions. I was having a lot of fun. A lot of the fun was made off of the sus-ass, PDF file memes, I guess. But it was okay. But then I realized that this show is basically 3x speed dialogue. It's not that the story is bad. It's the storytelling that is fucking ass. And of all reactors, you can't fucking tell me that I'm too dumb to appreciate the story. It's not that I'm not understanding the story. It's just that, bro, they are talking 4x speed to include every fucking thing. And this shit is something you can only understand if you pause every fucking frame and read it like a book. It's no longer an anime. And this is coming from me, a guy who pretty much pauses the most of any other fucking anime reaction channels out there, to the point that people fucking cry and complain and say, please stop the video. Even I thought this shit was fucking too much to pause too much. Like, it was ass. Genuinely fucking ass in the way that they did the storytelling. It just genuinely made me so fucking upset. The amount of just dense exposition and lore drop that you can't even fucking digest in a way that makes sense. Fuck this anime. Put it down here, bro. Now, we're left to two animes. Dandadan easily goes to peak. Easily goes to peak. Right? Easily goes to peak. Dandadan, if it retained the momentum after episode 7 into the Nessie and Japanese Salaryman arc and finished off there strong, I probably would think that it's over ReZero and Danmachi, but that the way that they ended the split core really frustrated me. And the season 1's not done yet, right? And the way of how Dandadan does their storytelling, there's a very awkward place to kind of like, it's a very awkward place to kind of like end the story. So I get it. It's just that I'm also gonna tell you how I'm naturally feeling. And I think that this is how pretty much most people are feeling. People are fucking upset and think that this is a very abrupt ending. And I guess the incentive is to go read the manga. But as an anime reaction channel, I can't. This is probably 9 point something out of 10. If we think about episode 7, that probably is contestant for like best anime episode of the year. So I'll probably put it like here. 9 point something out of 10. Really good anime. Really, really good anime. And finally, we have Blue Lock. Where do you think Blue Lock is going, guys? This is a very controversial anime. Very, very controversial anime. A lot of people. Well, you know, we saw even before Blue Lock aired, right? Before this happened, what happened? There is a Twitter account that was leaking stuff, talking about Doom posting about ReZero and a bunch of other leaks, right? And amongst the leaks, there was a message that said, don't bother having expectations for Blue Lock. It's gonna be so ass. And they were honestly right for the most part. When episode 1 aired, what happened? Well, we had a lot of hope because when there is no soccer animation happening, of course they can make the fucking anime look good because the story hard carries. But as soon as episode 2 and more happened, all the memes started happening. PNG lock, slide lock. This shit is ass. U20 arc is cooked. But I had the copium. I was saying, guys, they're saving the budget and the talent and the resources for the U20 arc. It's gonna be fine. And then U20 happened. The trailer happened. And the trailer, oh my god, we even made a separate fucking video for that. The ratio of like to dislike on the trailer for U20 trailer, oh, it was fucking bad, bro. And I don't know why they included just like the worst fucking parts of the U20 arc in the trailer. Because the trailer is supposed to really highlight and impress everybody. But I guess, like, if the trailer hinted at shit that was happening, you know, in the finale episode, people will be so excited. But I guess there wasn't enough content at that point to kind of then advertise that. So people are already dooming, saying U20 is cooked. This is the cope you guys had? They're saving the budget and talent for fucking U20? Well, then I said, what did I say? I was like, oh, okay, guys, maybe they'll save the best for the best at the last couple minutes, the last moment of the U20 arc. And I said that. Go back to my videos. I fucking said that. And guess what? It actually happened. And if we consider just the final episode, that shit's a 10 out of 10. Bro, there's one anime director that went beyond the Call of Duty, made 80 separate fucking scenes just for that. You know when the black bars happened and it was movie time? That was that one animation director. Just fucking going all out. It was peak animation. We don't even deserve that, but we got it. And oh my god, it's so fucking good that I'm getting flashbacks to Demon Slayer Hashira training arc. Why Hashira training arc? Cause the first 7 fucking episodes or so, nothing fucking happens. It's just a filler animation. People are complaining. It's just like, I can't believe this is the downfall of Demon Slayer. And then what happened? The finale happened. The finale happened? And oh my god, that shit was fucking again a 10 out of 10. And it's just like, oh my god, this is so good. To the point where I forget about everything that led up to that finale. And this is a very interesting case. And I've been thinking a lot. I've been thinking a lot of like, is this okay? And what am I saying is okay? I'm saying, is it okay that an animation studio will min-max so fucking hard? Let me get you a graph to kind of show you this. Hold up. Hold up. Let's bring this up here. So, here. If we consider a graph, right? If we consider a graph where basically we're going to be talking about the I guess, consistency over time, right? So we have what? We can, let's say, have time here. Let's get a brush out. We can have like, you know, time. Time, and let's say quality, right? Let's take, for example, an anime like Tower of God. Tower of God is just fucking ass the entire way through. Maybe there's some highlights in the beginning, but most of it is just kind of like this, and it's just ass. And maybe the finale, you know, the episodes I didn't watch, maybe it went like this, but this is pretty much it. It's consistently just bad the entire time. Blue Lock does an interesting thing where it too is just kind of like that, but there's like episodes where it's just like, it goes like this. This is like Shido. These is like the Shido episodes. And this is the finale. Would you rather have an anime like do you want and let's compare another anime. So we have Blue Lock. Right? We got Blue Lock. And then we have TOG. And what's another consistently kind of like good anime that didn't reach the peaks of, let's say, Blue Lock, but was better than Tower of God? Maybe Maho 2099? What is a very consistently decent anime that is better than Tower of God, very stable, but doesn't come close to the peak of Blue Lock? Anybody know? Rama's pretty high up there, but Rama might be a good actually example because it's actually really high up there. Let's bring in Rama here. Let's just say Rama is like here the entire time. Would you want an anime like Rama or Blue Lock? Because the more I think about it, the more I realize that I might want Blue Lock more. And hear me out. You know the example I said about how the anime studios, the industry is basically pumping out sheer amount of volume. The industry is pumping out a sheer ridiculous amount of volume of content, focusing on quantity over quality. We're pumping out shitty isekais left, right, and center, but sometimes there are studios that only focus on one fucking thing and they do it well, like Frieren. And you know how I said, one hit, one fucking memorable anime like Frieren will do more for you in terms of, I guess, merch sales and, you know, just basically anything that improves the bottom line, profitability, compared to a bunch of shit fucking animes. Let's take that example and kind of like zoom in. So rather than thinking about multiple different animes, let's just focus on this context of a single anime in the episodes. And now I realize that if one single episode is so memorable and peak, for me personally, I might want that more than something that's consistently mid. Now, Ranma is a difficult one to say because it's not consistently mid. Maybe a different example I can bring in is, let's bring in another one. And here I can maybe say like, Talker. I don't know. The Ranma example is a bit hard to say because Ranma was consistently good. So obviously when I'm comparing Blue Lock and Ranma, a lot of people might just say Ranma. But what about like shows like Talker? What about shows like Grieving? What about shows like Spirit Chronicles? What about other shows that's just like a 7 out of 10 consistently all the way through? Because Blue Lock clearly has scenarios where it is so much more fucking ass, right? Than like these other like shows like Talker. But Talker can't hit the peak of Blue Lock up here. So it's just I just have been really thinking about this concept more and more, and I realized that I would prefer to have one memorable anime episode rather than something that I'll forget next season. Genuinely. This is how I feel. I think that one fucking peak 10 out of 10 episode, even if they slap me in the face with all this fucking garbage in the past, one hype fucking episode that'll make me feel feelings that I've never felt in other consistently good shows is something that I'll be thinking about more and more. Maybe my thought process will change as I go on, but it's just, they got me, man. They fucking got me. One single good episode that goes beyond anything that I've ever expected, suddenly warping my entire impression of the anime, when there's plenty of other animes that was consistently good, but because it didn't reach that peak, now I'm thinking otherwise. For that reason, I don't think Blue Lock is in peak. I think Blue Lock should probably go up here in grade tier. Again, I know better than you do. I've literally farmed videos criticizing and shit-talking the production committee and saying how this is fucking disgusting. But because they actually delivered when it mattered, now my impression of this is so weird. Because like, the other fucking episodes are truly down here. But here's the interesting thing too. The story itself is so fucking hyped that maybe it's closer to here. Right? It's just like good / mid the entire time. Maybe some episode was genuinely just fucking ass. Like, you know, episode 2. But because of the peaks were so fucking peak, it has to kind of like average down. I don't think it's really up here. I genuinely believe it might be up here. Overall, if I rate like everything on average, I can't just selectively pick one episode and be like, oh yeah, the entire anime is good because of one fucking episode. But I believe it kind of like offsets a bit. Because if it's always fucking bad like down here, but there's a couple episodes that's like a fucking up here, then we gotta kind of meet halfway point. Therefore, I'll put it here. And the rating? What's the rating for this? I don't want to give it an 8. It feels weird to give it an 8. The bottom of peak. Just out of respect for that one animation director who literally like sacrificed himself to give us that finale episode, I put it here then. This is crazy. It's genuinely crazy how, again, Blue Lock and Tower of God are two sides of the same coin. Yet, due to one studio actually just being skill issue, due to one studio being actually so fucking trash with the talent, versus another studio that clearly can do it but chose not to do it and only showed up where it mattered, they got away with it. And this, I think, is my final tier list for fall 2024. I truly believe this was, you know, if this just didn't have the fucking labyrinth arc, the dungeon, I think it could have gone up here, but because of that, I gotta put this down here. These are just cozy, fun shows that's not that memorable, but I enjoyed watching. These, I think, definitely were a different quality compared to these three. ReZero, Dandadan, and Danmachi are obviously peak. And Blue Lock this is probably the most controversial one that I'm putting up here. But again, that one single episode that just went just beyond the Call of Duty. It's just like, I woke up this morning and going to the gym, I thought about that episode. When you actually think about the episode and remember all the hype scenes, it means that it was genuinely that fucking good. Most animes that I watch and I just forget about it. This shit, when I was walking to the gym this morning, I was thinking about how Ego was making that fucking fist, that victory pose, because he was so happy. The stoic calm Ego is just popping off. Isagi just fucking going like this and then doing the whole last interview. That shit gave me goosebumps still. Even talking about it still gives me goosebumps, but very controversial pick down here, but this is fall 2024. I'll see you next time.